and it's the big question for everybody now is our parents are aging and baby boomers are getting older, and
Right.
it comes down to, do I want to move to a care home? Do I need to move to a condo, downsize? What do I need to do? I can't go downstairs into my basement anymore. Stairs are getting tough or steep or, not safe or whatever the situation is. So,
Right.
yeah, that's the question that's been coming up quite a bit.
Hi, I'm Gregg Bamford, and welcome back to the Bamford Co podcast. I'm joined here with one of my friends, Clint Pess with Hoyt's Contracting. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Can you give us a little bit of background on your contracting company and what you've been working on?
Yeah, well, my company, we started in 2008, and general contracting. Originally started out doing more on the commercial end, from salons to doctor's offices and what have you, and slowly moved over towards residential. That's where people wanted me. That's where we went. So
that's awesome. You also built Sanctum, didn't you?
Yes, I did a pro bono build for Sanctum to help them get off the ground, and I've done things, White Buffalo Youth Lodge, did some work on the, emergency shelter when they were trying to get started,
Right.
Help them out too.
Clint cares about the community, so we applaud him for that. He does. So you've done a lot. So now it's residential that you're focusing on.
Yep, primarily residential.
Yeah. So we had a conversation the other day, and this is something that we've been talking about, right sizing within, I guess, our last couple episodes, and we're talking about people living in their homes and now looking to extend the lifeline of their home. So it's expensive to move into a care home. So one of the things that we were discussing the other day is that how can people stay in their home for a longer period of time? So that's something that you've been brainstorming. And so maybe could you share with us maybe some ideas of kind of what you were thinking about?
Yeah, I mean, it's commonly referred to as age in place, I guess, and it's the big question for everybody now is our parents are aging and baby boomers are getting older, and
right.
It comes down to, do I want to move to a care home? Do I need to move to a condo, downsize? What do I need to do? I can't go downstairs into my basement anymore. Stairs are getting tough or steep or, not safe or whatever the situation is. So,
right.
Yeah, that's the question that's been coming up quite a bit. So
it's awesome. So, I mean, when we look at these things too, is that what can we do to a house that doesn't change the value of it? And then also what can we switch back that doesn't cost much either, right? Because sometimes we're going into houses as realtors and it's wheelchair accessible and they've done all these improvements to it.
Right.
But for the next person moving in, that's a lot of cost to be able to just rip out.
Yeah.
And then that property doesn't sell for top dollar because of all the extra work, right?
Yeah.
So it's
yeah, sorry. A lot of times people, the main issue comes up is I can't get into the bathtub anymore, or I need accessibility into the bathtub. And you don't want to get rid of your bathtub on your main floor because
right.
when you do go to sell, that's going to be your feature for a family or whoever decides to move in.
Okay.
So, I mean, you just got to juggle what you can afford, what's a possibility for you, and how it can be done. Other things such as laundry, getting laundry from basement to main floor. Lately, we've been putting a lot of laundry services into closets, whether it's stackables or converting a spare room into a laundry room so that, you have access to that, so you don't have to go down the stairs.
That makes a big difference. Like, I mean, laundry, nobody really wants laundry in the basement anymore.
No, it's a thing of the past.
It doesn't matter what house you live in. Most people don't want it in the basement. What would, you have to look at where water is and plumbing is and so forth, but how much would it usually cost? Like, not usually, but like an estimate. Like if you're...
I mean, there's so many variables.
I get it. But if you just said, you have to throw out a number, just would it be $5,000, $10,000?
No, I think somewhere in the $3,500 to $4,500 range,
right.
Depending on where your services are. Like you said, you got to get that drain, proper slope, water lines, all those things to service the unit. So, yeah, it kind of depends where everything is.
And then it depends how nice you want it. So like,
Well,
are
that's
you
just it,
are you
yeah.
building cabinets? Are you putting granite countertops?
Yeah.
Are you doing all those things?
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
sky is the limit with
now
it.
you're looking $15,000 to
Yeah,
$20,000.
exactly. Yeah, but for the service itself, I mean, yeah, you could probably do it for $3,500, but then you got a washing machine sitting in your spare room. So
Right.
then you look at cabinets, and well, now you want the pull-outs, so it's easier to do, and yeah,
Right.
it's many variables. So
For sure. Maybe even raising it a little bit so it's easier
yeah,
for the
yeah.
management side of things. Is it costly to switch it back, or is it pretty easy to switch things back? Kind of.
Again, it all depends on the application.
Okay.
If you have open ceiling underneath, like suspended ceiling, it's a pretty simple fix. You just pull some tiles aside, run your drain lines, your water lines, and
Right.
Bob's your uncle. But
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes it's not that simple.
Bob's not my uncle, but at the same time. So yeah, I mean, these are just super insightful things because everybody's thinking of them, right?
Yeah.
And right now you can't find a bungalow. If you're looking at a bungalow in the city, the new neighborhoods aren't building them, so everybody's looking at
Yeah.
these older properties, but they're also looking at renovating them because they're now becoming dated,
Yeah.
or a lot of them still have the laundry in the basement. So
Yeah.
that's a major concern. They're like, oh well, I can't buy it because it's got laundry in the basement.
Yeah.
Well, if you phone Clint,
There you go.
He can move up your laundry for $3,500, but
Don't quote me on that.
starting quotes $3,500.
Yeah, yeah. No, part of the issue too is there's a lot of people that they're looking for bungalows, and then people that are in bungalows are looking for condos, and people in condos want a first-time home. So it's this.
It's a major transition right now, and
Yeah.
we don't have enough inventory when it comes down to it in the first place,
Right.
right? And there weren't a lot of 2 stories where they had main floor suites made.
Yeah,
Right, like
right.
or like you had a master bedroom on the main and so forth. That's kind of a new thing now that they're bringing into a case. But yeah, so there's a lot of changes. I appreciate your insight on this because
yeah.
you're looking at kind of focusing on this as part of your business going forward, right?
Yeah, yeah. So we're starting now just because of the sheer demand for it. A company called Age Smart Home Solutions.
Cool.
And what they do, what the whole premise is that we send in technicians, and we use what's actually familiar to real estate is LiDAR mapping,
Right.
which is typically used in real estate applications. I'm sure
Yeah.
you've used it before.
As like a virtual tour. So it
As
takes
a-
you around,
yeah.
it maps the property.
Yeah,
and-
so you get an idea level per level where everything is. It also gives you a floor plan. So this allows our technicians to be able to see the home and be able to come up with a game plan, identify identify safety issues, and just suggestions like grab bars here, widen this door to 36 inches, things that you may need or may want to start thinking about as you age in place.
Right, because I mean, if you love the neighborhood you live in, and there's usually a lot of emotions to the house that you've been in for a long period of time, if you can stand it an extra 2, 5, 10 years,
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you try to do it, right?
Yeah, well, and I had this conversation with one of my clients the other day, and she's, well, I can't get in my bathtub and all the things. And but then she doesn't want to lose her privacy. She doesn't want to lose her, you go to a condo or assisted living or whatever, you're crammed in beside, other people. You get smells from other units, and, it's just something about being able to stay in a familiar place for you is huge, I think. And
It's hard too, because when we're talking about right sizing, people moving into a condo, if you're from a 2,200 square foot 2-story with 3 floors and tons of stuff, moving into a 780 or even 1,000 square foot condo is massively moving into a different space.
Right. Yeah, and you got to think too that you have your kids from out of town come to visit. Where are they going to stay now? There's a lot of. I'm going through this with my own mom right now, and it's she wants to get rid of the house, but it's a bungalow, so it's where are you going to go?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, we all did. I mean, we did it with my parents about 5 years ago. We sold their 2,100 square foot property because of the upkeep and just because
Yeah.
of mobility and so forth. and moved into a bungalow townhouse, right?
Yeah.
And it was just then they can live on one floor and so forth. But I mean, they got in it 5 years ago. It was a little bit more
Right.
affordable back then.
And there was some available.
Right, and there's some available, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, for example, that property would have been probably worth about like $500,000, and now they're worth 700,000.
Right.
Like, it's way different, right,
is,
for a
yeah.
lot of people, and the affordability factor comes into it, because a lot of times that 2,100 square foot house that might be dated isn't getting you anywhere close to the amount of money that you need to move into a bungalow
Right.
because of the demand,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
so working with you, you might be able to give them some extra time there so that they
Well,
save
and,
some
and
money.
yeah, and they would know that they have options, I
Right.
guess, is the biggest thing. Which is part of this Age Smart Home Solutions is it doesn't, you're not committed to any contract with me or anybody. It's just giving you the options, showing you what's possible. If you're interested in aging in place, then you know it's a possibility at
Yeah,
least.
that's awesome. So we'll share all your information with this podcast, and you can reach out to Clint to at least get maybe even a quote. I mean, there's probably a charge to a quote and so forth for
Yep.
this, but at the
Yep.
same time, at least get a quote to see if this is something that works for you or your parents or your grandparents and so forth, right? Because for us, we always find that a lot of times when we're helping out parents and grandparents, we're working with the full family, right?
Yeah.
Someone,
Yeah.
someone introduce us just because they've worked with us, and now we're working with
Yeah.
their other loved ones, right?
Right.
So
And Saskatoon's a small city. I mean, we have 3 degrees of separation here, so everybody knows everybody in the grand scheme of things. But
Yeah,
it's
sure.
it's typically the kids that are kind of stick handling things for the parents.
Right.
Is typically what I see. So.
Yeah, nope, that's awesome. Well, thank you for coming on today. We look forward to having you on in the future and explaining more in detail as your company evolves and builds out, and we have some more examples. Maybe we can even share some diagrams and some other stuff in the future.
Yeah,
'Cause
that sounds
everybody's constantly wondering about real estate, and I think people right now with the baby boomer generation, our parents and so forth, it's probably the biggest change that we've seen in real estate maybe ever.
Yeah, it's a massive hurdle for everybody right now, and everybody wants the best for their parents, and even maintaining a home for long term for the children is not a bad thing either. So
Yep, no, for sure. Well, thank you, Clint.
yeah,
We'll
thanks
have
for
you back
having me.
again.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much.